Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to do a your painless nitrogen test. Okay, you want to do your nitrogen test before you do your vacuum. It's real important because, as we know, a vacuum sucks and it pulls. And you want to get all your air and moisture stuff out of the line, but you want to have pressurized the line because when you get from the manufacturer, the ODU here is completely sealed off. It doesn't have any issues at all. It's not leaking. You can see nothing's happening. You know that's already sealed. Until you release that two valves here, it's self-contained. The IDU, your inside unit, it was self-contained too. And when you undid those little ends on it when you first got it, you noticed the nitrogen came out, and so that was sealed. Okay, if the nitrogen didn't come out, there's an issue. But anyway, if it was filled with nitrogen, that's not leaking. So the only thing that's leaking is these two connections here and the two connections you made at the inside unit. All right, so you're really just testing the line. You're testing those four connections, two here and two there, and you're pressure testing them with nitrogen. And then if nothing's leaking, then you do your vacuum, suck everything out, so then there'll be no moisture or air or nitrogen or nothing inside with your vacuum, okay? So first things first, real quick, a painless nitrogen test. You don't need a bunch of gauges. You don't need a whole bunch of stuff. You have your nitrogen gauge, of course. You have to have that just to get nitrogen out of the bottle. But it's set up. You sit there, open it up. Like right now, you make sure this thing's all the way open so there's no pressure coming down the system. You open this thing up, and here I got about 2,000 pounds, whatever. And here you want to give it a little bit. So just open enough to put a little air into it. And so you have a little bit on there. This thing goes all the way up to 600 pounds. And so I only got a little bit in there. I don't want to shoot a bunch of air, which is in this hose, into the system when I go to do this test. So I want to release it a little bit here. Okay, so release it a little bit. Make sure there's nothing in it. And it's capped off. And all these connections here, you want to do by hand. You don't want to do any wrenches or anything like that. I already took out the Schrader valve. Okay, I already took that out because just when you do vacuuming or when you do your nitrogen test, you don't want a bunch of blockages, So anyway, this gauge here is the only one you're going to be concerned with, and so here we're going to go ahead and go now. So right now, I'm going to give it I'm just going to start like 150 pounds or whatever, and I bring it into there. It's no issue. Now this right here, this is about to come into, I'm about to release it now into the system, okay? I got it blocked off right here. In case you don't know, this is a 5/16 Schrader valve removal tool, okay? And so it fits right on our mini splits. So it's not the black one, which is a 1/4 inch. We use that on when we do vacuuming, but for now, got the 5/16 one going, and we have it blocked off. We have it set up. So I'm going to release this into there. You want to do everything slowly. And right now I got about 100 pounds of nitrogen in there. I'm going to bring it up to 300 pounds, and then I'm going to hold it there for 10 minutes or so. Okay, I got about 250. Okay, it's sitting around 260 right now. So it's under 260. I'm just going to leave it there and see how it goes. And we'll leave it for 10 minutes. As soon as the 10 minutes is up, we'll come back, and if we haven't gone down at all, everything's still fine. Like right now, what I can do is just so we're not charging it into the system, I'm going to block this off, and now this is just reading the system. That's why you're using this tool. So now we know that the nitrogen is turned off. It doesn't really do anything at this point. Matter of fact, I'll just turn it off and release the pressure. So everything said. This thing here is reading 260 or so. All right, so we're gonna go check in 10 minutes, and there's nothing coming into this thing from this bottle. It's just what's reading in the place. And so during the 10 minutes, you can get some non-corrosive bubble tester, and you're going to put it on this one here on these connections and put it over there too. This is good enough to read, but because it's not digital, it's analog, you want to make sure you know that you can't see that. It's not like a micron gauge where you can see little increments leaving. So you just want to double check it and make sure it's fine after 10 minutes. But you can double check it with the bubbles. Okay, so we're going to do that. I use Better Bubble by Rector Seal. Fantastic stuff. Not only is it non-corrosive for our HVAC units, which really you need. You really don't want to be using regular soap. It can be corrosive to all kinds of parts. But anyway, that stuff works great. And what's nice about it is, look at this, man. I mean, I put this on a couple minutes ago, and the bubbles just stay. So in other words, they don't just wipe off, and you're wondering if there's stuff around it. Look at that. There's stuff all around that whole thing. It's just sitting there, and it's not. There's nothing of course. There's nothing growing, and so literally, can you imagine? I mean, it is just a wonderful product. The way it just sits there, and you can tell if there was a leak at all, those little micro bubbles, you'd see a million of them just growing. This thing would start having all kinds, because it's such an awesome product. It's so thick and gnarly and full of bubbles, if you will, its own bubbles, not from nitrogen, I mean, not from the gas or anything like that. So anyway, that's just wonderful. I mean, literally, you can check. So it's already the machine itself. We're out there, got it set up with the gauges, so it hadn't gone down at all. But you want to double check your 4 connections and see that they're fine. So we'll go outside and check those too. But now we know the inside's not leaking at all. Okay, we're back here again on the outside unit. Get around this gauge. I can show you. It's not leaking up. It's real hard to show you. Anyway, nothing's leaking. It's working perfect. You just got to double check it's not leaking. And if you know it's not leaking, then it's great. We'll do that for 10 minutes. Okay, the gauge itself, I already got the nitrogen bottle taken away. The hose was in my way, so I couldn't show you this. But anyway, the gauge itself is still showing the exact same thing. It's 260 pounds. And double check the no bubbles anywhere. So actually working perfect. But it showed that, of course, on the showed that also on the gauge, you know, that it wasn't moving. So anyway, perfect. The nitrogen test is done, and now we'll go ahead and proceed to vacuum the lines. Okay, you wanted to have the nitrogen in there, and then we'll hook up the vacuum pump to it, and also I'll show you how to disengage the valve and put on the micron gauge, and we'll go from there. Okay, so that ends our nitrogen testing, and I'll shoot you the next video for putting on the vacuum pump.